Welcome to my channel. I am the General Mathematics Tutor. In this video, we are going to learn how to solve quadratic equations using factorization method. So I have arranged a series of equations with different structures that we're going to look at. So the first one, that is number 1, solve the following quadratic equations by factorization method. So the first one is 3x squared plus 5x is equal to 2. So the first thing you need to do is just rewrite the equation in the standard form. The standard form of a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So let us do that. So just going to have 3x squared plus 5x, then we move 2 to the left hand side, so minus 2 is equal to 0. The next thing is just look for two numbers whose sum is the same as b, and in this case b is 5. So we look for two numbers whose sum is the same as 5 and their product should be the same as a times c. In our case, that is 3 times negative 2, which is negative 6. So you will find that those two numbers are 6 and negative 1. So try multiplying 6 times negative 1, you get negative 6. 6 plus negative 1, you get 5. So the next thing is to split b into these two numbers that we have obtained, that is 6 and negative 1. So we write the equation as 3x squared plus 6x minus x minus 2 is equal to 0. After that, we just look for the common factor between these two terms, and the common factor is 3x. So we have 3x into x plus 2. So we do the same for the other side, or we just expect x plus 2 this side, and for us to have obtained negative 2, it means we multiplied positive 2 by negative 1. That is equal to 0. So then we take 3x minus 1 times x plus 2 is equal to 0. So for the product of two numbers to be 0, it means one of the two is 0. So we take one in turn. So let us say that what if 3 minus 1 is equal to 0? Then it will mean that 3x is equal to 1 and x is equal to a third. On the other hand, we could say that x plus 2 is equal to 0, and then we'll find that x is equal to negative 2. Number 2, we have 6x squared minus 5x is equal to 4. So the first thing you need to do is just write these in the standard form. So this will be 6x squared minus 5x minus 4 is equal to 0. So the next thing we need to do is just look for two numbers whose sum is the same as b, and b in this case is negative 5, and the product should be the same as a times c, that is 6 times negative 4, and that is negative 24. So you'll find that those two numbers are negative 8 and positive 3. So we just split negative 5 into negative 8 into 3. So we write this equation as 6x squared minus 8x plus 3x minus 4 is equal to 0. Then we look for the common factor between these two terms, and we'll find that to be 2x. So we have 2x into 3x minus 4. Then we expect 3x minus 4 this side, 3x minus 4. So for us to have obtained negative 4, it means we multiply negative 4 by positive 1. So plus 1 is equal to 0. Then we take 2x plus 1 times 3x minus 4. 3x minus 4 is equal to 0. And for the product of these two numbers to be 0, it means either one of them is 0. So we say, what if 2x plus 1 is equal to 0? Then 2x will be negative 1 and x will be negative 1 over 2. Or what if we say that 3x minus 4 is the one that is equal to 0? Then we'll have 3x is equal to 4 and x equal to 4 over 3. Number 3, x squared plus 7x is equal to 8. So the first thing is just to write in standard form. So we're going to have 3, not 3, but x squared plus 7x minus 8 is equal to 0. Then we're going to look for two numbers whose sum is the same as b, and b in our case is 7, so the sum should be the same as 7, and the product of those two numbers should be the same as 1 times negative 8, that is a times c, which is negative 8. You'll find those two numbers to be 8 and negative 1, because if you multiply negative 1 by 8 you get negative 8, if you add the 2 you get positive 7. So just split 7 into 8 and negative 1. So we have x squared minus x plus 8x minus 8 is equal to 0. Then we find a common factor between these two terms, that is x into x minus 1. So we expect x minus 1 this side. So for us to have obtained negative 8, it means we multiplied negative 1 by positive 8. So plus 8 is equal to 0. Then we take x plus 8 into x minus 1 is equal to 0. Now for the product of these two numbers to be 0, it means either one of them is 0. So what if we say that x plus 8 is equal to 0? Then x will be negative 8. Or we could say that x minus 1 is equal to 0, so that x is equal to 1. Number 4, x squared minus 3x is equal to 2x minus 6. So just write this in a standard form. It will be x squared minus 3x minus 2x plus 6 is equal to 0. So that will be x squared minus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. So now it is in standard form. So all we need to do is look for two numbers whose sum is the same as b, and our b in this case is negative 5. So the sum should be the same as negative 5, and the product should be the same as 1 times 6, that is a times c, which is just 6. So you will find those two numbers to be negative 2 and negative 3. So we just split negative 5 into negative 2 and negative 3. So we write the equation as x squared minus 2x minus 3x plus 6 is equal to 0. So we look for the common factor between these two, and that is x. So x into x minus 2. Then we expect x minus 2 this side. So for us to have obtained positive 6, it means we multiplied negative 2 by negative 3 is equal to 0. We take x minus 3, and then we take x minus 2 and equate that to 0. So for this product to be 0, it means one of these terms is 0. So what if x minus 3 is 0, then x is equal to 3? Or what if x minus 2 is 0, then x is equal to 2? Number 5, 3x squared minus 1 is equal to 1 over 5 into 1 minus x. So the first thing you're going to do is just rewrite this equation so that it is in standard form. So we'll have 3x squared minus 1 is equal to 1 over 5 minus 1 over 5x. So we collect the like terms, or we just bring these terms to the left hand side. We're going to have 3x squared plus 1 over 5x minus 1 minus 1 over 5 is equal to 0. So we're going to have 3x squared plus 1 over 5x. If you take minus 1 over 5, that is the same as 6 over 5 is equal to 0. So we can simplify this quadratic equation by multiplying every term by this denominator. So if we multiply this by 5, we're going to get 15x squared plus x minus 6 is equal to 0. So now we have the quadratic equation in the standard form. So all we need to do is look for two numbers whose sum is the same as 1, and the product should be the same as 15 times negative 6, that is negative 90. So you will find those two numbers to be 10 and negative 9. So we just split 1 into 10 and negative 1. So we'll have the equation as 15x squared, and then we can take minus 9x plus 10x minus 6 is equal to 0. So now we just look for the common factor between these two, and you'll find that to be 3x. So we have 3x into 5x minus 3. So we expect 5x minus 3 this side. So for us to have obtained negative 6, it means we multiplied negative 3 by positive 2. So plus 2 there is equal to 0. So we have 3x plus 2 times 5x minus 3 being equal to 0. And for the product of these two numbers to be 0, it means one of them is 0. So what if 3x plus 2 is equal to 0? Then we'll have 3x is equal to negative 2, so that x is equal to negative 2 over 3. Or we could take that 5x minus 3 is equal to 0, so that 5x is equal to 3 and x is equal to 3 over 5. Number 6, you have 2x plus 3 into x plus 1 is equal to 1. So you can just simplify this equation to be in the standard form, that is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So for us to do that, we just open up the brackets in the left hand side. So we're going to have 2x into x plus 1 plus 3 into x plus 1 is equal to 1. So this is 2x squared plus 2x plus 3x plus 3 is equal to 1. So you can combine these two and bring 1 to this other side. So you're going to have 2x squared, this is plus 5x. Then when you bring 1 to this side, it will be 3 minus 1, that is 2. So plus 2 is equal to 0. Now we have the quadratic equation in its standard form. So all we need to do is look for two numbers whose sum is the same as b, and the b in our case is 5, and their product is the same as 2 times 2, that is 4. So we'll find those two numbers to be 1 and 4. So just split 5 into 1 and 4. So we have the equation as 2x squared plus x plus 4x plus 2 is equal to 0. So the common factor between these two is x. So we have x into 2x plus 1. So you expect 2x plus 1 this side. So for us to have obtained positive 2, it means we multiplied 1 by positive 2. So we have plus 2 is equal to 0. So x plus 2 times 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. So for the product of these two numbers to be 0, it means either one of them is 0. So you could take that x plus 2 is equal to 0, so that x is equal to negative 2. Or we could take that 2x plus 1 is equal to 0, so that 2x is equal to negative 1 and x equal to negative 1 over 2. Number 7, 1 over 2x minus 5 plus 5 over 2x minus 1 is equal to 2. So the first thing we need to do is just rewrite this equation so that it is in the standard form of quadratic equations. So to do that, we're going to multiply each and every term by the LCM of these two fractions. So the LCM here will be 2x minus 5, 2x minus 1. Then we multiply that by the first term there, which is 1 over 2x minus 5, plus the other term there. So we have 2x minus 5 into 2x minus 1, multiplying the second term there, which is 5 over 2x minus 1. Then we also do the same with the one in the left hand side. So you have 2x minus 5, 2x minus 1 times 2. So this 2x minus 5 and 2x minus 5 will cancel, so we're left with 2x minus 1. And in the second case, 2 2x minus 1 and 2x minus 1 would cancel, so we are left with 5 times 2x. 5 times 2x minus 5 is equal to, on the left hand side we have 2 times this product, so we can write this as 4x minus 5 minus 10, because I'm multiplying 2 times 2x, that is 4x, minus 2 times 5, that is 10, into 2x minus 1. So we have 2x minus 1 plus 10x minus 25 is equal to 4x into 2x minus 1 minus 10 into 2x minus 1. So we have, we can add these two, that is 2x and 10x, that is 12x. Then we have minus 26 is equal to 8x squared minus 4x minus 20x plus 10. So you can bring all these terms to one side. So you can have 8x squared minus 4x minus 20x. Then you bring this one to the other side, it will be minus 12x. Then that's it. So we also look at the constant terms. So plus 10 plus 26 is equal to 0. So this is 8x squared, and then this is minus 36x plus 36 is equal to 0. So this is in standard form of quadratic equations, but we can simplify it so that we are able to use smaller values. So you can divide through by 4, so that we have 2x squared minus 9x plus 9 is equal to 0. So now all we need to do is look for two numbers whose sum is the same as b, and b in our case is negative 9, and the product is the same as 2 times 9, that is a times c, which is 18. And you will find that those two numbers are negative 6 and negative 3. So we just split b, which is negative 9, into negative 6 plus negative 3. So it means we have 2x squared minus 6x minus 3x plus 9 is equal to 0. So the common factor between this and this is 2x. So we have x minus 3. So we expect x minus 3 this side. So for you to have obtained positive 9, it means to multiply negative 3 by negative 3. That is equal to 0. So we have 2x minus 3 times x minus 3 is equal to 0. For this product to be 0, it means either one of these is 0. So if 2x minus 3 is equal to 0, then 2x is equal to 3, so that x is equal to 3 over 2. Or we could take that x minus 3 is equal to 0, so that x is equal to 3. Number 8, 4 over x minus 1 minus 5 over x plus 2 is equal to 3 over x. So the first thing to do is just to rewrite this equation so that it is in the standard form of a quadratic equation. So to do that, we are going to do away with the fractions. And for us to do away with the fractions, we just multiply through by the LCM of the three terms. So the LCM is x into x minus 1 into x plus 2. And we multiply the first term, that is 4 over x minus 1 minus the LCM again, that is x into x minus 1, x plus 2. Then you multiply the second term there, which is 5 over x plus 2. So that should be equal to the LCM again, that is x into x minus 1 into x plus 2, multiplying the term on the other side of the equation, that is 3 over 6 over x. So for the first case, x minus 1 and x minus 1 will cancel, so we are left with 4 times x, that is 4x into x plus 2 minus, in the second case, x plus 2 and x plus 2 will cancel, so we're left with 5 times x, that is 5x into x minus 1 is equal to, this side x and x will cancel, so that we're left with 3 into x minus 1 into x plus 2. So all we need to do is just open up the brackets. So in the first case, we have 4x squared plus 8x minus 5x squared plus 5x is equal to, we can open up this first bracket and multiply the two. So this one will be 3x into the second one, which is x plus 2 minus 3 into x plus 2. So on this other side, we have 4x squared minus 5x squared, that will be negative x squared. Then we have 8x plus 5x, that will be 13x is equal to, this is 3x squared plus 6x minus 3x minus 6. So we can bring all the terms to the left hand side because we want to write this into a standard quadratic equation. So if we bring this to the other side, we're going to have minus 4x squared. Then you can bring this on this side, so 13x minus 6x plus 3x, that will be 10x, so plus 10x. Then there's only one constant term, which is now plus 6 is equal to 0. So again, we can simplify this equation by dividing through by negative 2, because negative 2 can divide every term there. So we have 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 is equal to 0. So that is the standard form of the quadratic equation that we have there. So now we can solve this using factorization method. We just need two numbers whose sum is the same as b, and b in this case is negative 5, and the product is the same as 2 times negative 3, that is negative 6. So you'll find that those two numbers are negative 6 and positive 1. So you just split negative 5 into negative 6 and positive 1. So we write this as 2x squared plus x minus 6x minus 3 is equal to 0. So the common factor between these two is x. So you have x into 2x plus 1. So you have 2x plus 1 that side. So for us to have obtained negative 3, it means we multiplied positive 1 by negative 3. So we have negative 3 there is equal to 0. So we have x minus 3 into 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. So for the product of two numbers to be 0, it means one of these two numbers is 0. So if x minus 3 is the one that is 0, then x will be 3. Or if 2x plus 1 is equal to 0, then 2x will be negative 1 and x will be negative 1 over 2. Number 9, x plus 1 over x is equal to 10 over 3. So all we need to do is just write this equation into the standard form, that is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So for us to do that, we're going to multiply each and every term by the LCM of these three terms. That is the LCM of 1, x and 3, which will be 3x. So it means we have 3x times x plus 3x times 1 over x is equal to 3x times 10 over 3. So for the first case, we're going to have 3x squared plus 3 is equal to 10x, which we can rewrite to be 3x squared minus 10x plus 3 is equal to 0. So now all we need to do is look for two numbers whose sum is the same as b, and b in this case is negative 10, and their product is the same as a times c, that is 3 times 3, which is 9. So we'll find those two numbers to be negative 9 and negative 1. Negative 9 and negative 1. So just split negative 10 into negative 9 and negative 1. So we have 3x squared minus 9x minus x plus 3 is equal to 0. The common factor between these two is 3x. So you have 3x into x minus 3. So you expect x minus 3 this side. So for you to have obtained a positive 3, it means you multiply negative 1, negative 3 by negative 1. So you have negative 1 there is equal to 0. So you have 3x minus 1 into x minus 3 is equal to 0. So for the product to be 0, it means that either of the terms is 0. So we could take that 3x minus 1 is equal to 0, so that x is equal to 1 over 3, or we could take that x minus 3 is equal to 0, so that x is equal to 3. Number 10, abx squared plus in bracket b squared minus acx minus bc is equal to 0. So this particular quadratic equation is already in the standard form. So all we need to do is get two numbers whose sum is the same as b, and b is normally the coefficient of x. So the sum should be the same as b squared minus ac, and their product should be the same as a times c. And in our case, a is ab and c is minus bc. So the product should be the same as minus ab squared c. If you multiply ab times minus bc, that should be minus a b squared c. So you will find that those two numbers are b squared and minus ac, because if you add them you get this, if you multiply them you get this. So just split b into b squared and minus ac, so that we have abx squared plus bx b squared x minus acx now minus bc is equal to 0. So we look for the common factor between these two, and the common factor is bx. So bx into ax plus b. So we expect ax plus b this side. So for us to have obtained a positive b, it means we multiplied, for us to have obtained negative bc, we multiplied b by negative c, so that is equal to 0. So we have bx minus c into ax plus b is equal to 0. So for this product to be 0, it means either the first one or the second one is 0. So if we take that bx minus c is equal to 0, then bx will be c, so that x is equal to c over b. Or if we take that ax plus b is equal to 0, then ax is equal to negative b, so that x is equal to negative b over a. Thank you for watching. Kindly subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification button so that whenever I post a video, you are on the know.